Well, the real estate market in some African nations is booming. Incomes are on the increase, banks are giving credit, and property prices are steadily climbing. Kenya's property agents and real estate professionals say the current housing boom is long overdue. In Nigeria, property and rental values, particularly in Abuja metropolis and its satellite towns, have gone up tremendously. Just recently, Kenya held its 16th edition of its Home Expo in Nairobi, and more than 120 firms displayed their products, ranging from new housing projects to building materials. Visitors to these expos range from those looking to buy a home to people shopping around for construction materials.
Homes Kenya Expo is an ideal platform for the people who are selling to meet the best potential buyers. Our main target is to try and make people own homes and get into the real estate industry and see how it can help them.
Limited access to home financing option has for many years impeded many Africans from owning homes, especially in urban areas. But in the last few years, Africa has witnessed a burgeoning real estate sector. U.S.-based Kenyan economist Joseph Wambia, CEO and managing partner at Linkage Capital Partners, attributes this boom to both external and internal factors.
Demand is exploding. People have the wherewithal to invest in real estate. Economy is growing, not as rapidly as before, but there's a construction boom going on, and a lot of the income is coming from the infrastructure construction, and of course from remittances from the diaspora. Those are the two major sources of financing that is coming for real estate.
Historically, home mortgage loans were out of reach for a vast majority of Africans without collateral to borrow against. Now, African banks are competing to offer loans to prospective home buyers, and therein lies the risk, says Wambia. Well, has Africa's real estate market learned anything from America's highs and lows? Now, for more perspective, we are joined by Makori, founder of Emerge Homes. The company is specialized in custom home construction. Mr. Hill, welcome to Africa 54.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes. Now, it's very exciting in Africa. Everybody is kind of thinking real estate. First, let's address the issue of interest rates. People are getting interest rates at some astronomical figures. Is that necessarily a dangerous thing?
Actually, quite the contrary. I'm really excited about what I'm seeing in the sub-Saharan African nations with this real estate boom, because there's no other segment of the economy that multiplies more aggressively. So what you're seeing with these high interest rates is just the banks and the financial investors trying to anticipate the risk. And as the risk record becomes more solid, you're going to see those rates come down over time. But it's a really exciting development.
Now, there's someone looking at the American market a few years ago and saying, this is a bubble. It's going to bust. You've been there. Do you see this as necessarily a bubble, this big boom?
Well, you know, I wrote a whole book about this, and I've been going around to universities in America lecturing on the subject of the housing boom and collapse, and I wrote Cannibal Capitalism, which may sound like I have a negative view of the way these markets tend to turn. Cannibal capitalism is a frightening term. But what happened in the American housing market was really an aberration that's very different from what you're seeing in these African countries that are starting to come up with a very aggressive, particularly Kenya, which has one of the most exciting real estate markets in the world, even outpacing China recently. The difference is this. What we had was the tail wagging the dog. The investment community that were driving the secondary market, the market that actually finances the loans, got so aggressive that they were lowering standards for the wherewithal needed to buy a home, that their ratios of what they expected in terms of risk were radically off. And as the returns started coming in with higher risks and higher defaults, that's ultimately what led to the bubble. But here, you're having interest rates that are so high that the risk tolerance of the financial instruments that back it can really handle a great deal.
Yeah, but some are saying, well, maybe some of these fellows, as soon as they start paying back, they're going to realize that these interest rates are going to bite them. Then they'll be unable to service their loans, and then the market will start getting flooded with houses that cannot sell, that are kind of on foreclosure.
Potentially, that is a risk, and again, I think that the interest rates are kind of pricing in that possibility. Time will tell what the default rates are, and as the default rates build up a record, the international community is going to come in. What drove the U.S. housing market and what drives many markets across the world is a $700 trillion derivatives market. And once that market internationally gets a sense of a tolerable risk within sub-Saharan Africa, what we're going to see is more investment, more competitive interest rates, and ultimately making home buying and home ownership within the reach of more people.
Very quickly, what lessons do you think you have for a person who's going in, either to buy or to invest?
To buy as quickly as you can and take advantage of it. Use the leverage that comes with this new opportunity to build the wealth of your home and your family. But when it comes to investors, watch the ratios of default rates over time. And as it builds, then you become more aggressive as necessary. But we have a long way before there'd be a bust to the bubble bust cycle.
Okay. So, there's hope.
There's a lot of hope. I think it's a very exciting
No reason to worry.
Yeah, we don't have to build a house brick by brick anymore, right?
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Pleasure being
for sharing with us. Mike Hill is the founder of Emerge Homes Incorporated.